incredible support, the unsung heroes, the nurses that I came across, the people who sat by my bedside. Whenever I asked them, what can I do now? What do you recommend? Now that I'm on my feet and back in the world, they said, pay it forward. All you can do is help the next people, or share your story, and try to enrich people's life in some way. And that's all that I can do. I'm not an expert fundraiser, I'm not an expert in the medical sphere, but I can share my story and lend my support and just hopefully lend a little bit of hope in the world as so many people are fighting this disease, and that we need to understand that it's also easily prevented. And please look at a cancer survivor through a different spectrum. These are great warriors, and they have so much to share beyond just what they've been through physically. There is such a deep emotional and psychological transformation. They have a lot to share with the world, and let's give them a platform from which they can share that. And thank you, Devika, again, for being behind this, and thank you, Shona, as well, for organizing this incredible conference. Thank you, everyone, for being here.
Thank you so much, Lisa. Straight from the heart, profound words, great support, encouragement for the women, as you call them, warriors. May I now ask Shona Nag, my sister in arms, to say a few words about how this conference came about and what to look forward at this conference. Correct? Thank you.
Actually, I am from media. I write for Radiance News and Bollywood Post. I just don't know whom to just address, but any of you just can answer this. Like this breast cancer, I mean, so the ladies who are just living in the rural areas, that is the most difficult task to bring awareness among them. So what your organization is doing in this regard? This.
If you will see in the room next door, probably 60% of the women who are sitting there are Marathi and Hindi, Gujarati speaking. We have made it a point to actually, the Women's Cancer Initiative with Dana Hospital supports the treatment of nearly 500 of these women who come from the lower socioeconomic strata. We make it a point to invite them to this conference, to be part of it. Every month we have support group meetings, and we create this awareness. We ensure that either we reach out to them into the interiors, or we bring them to our conferences, and if you go there and you speak to them, you will realize from where they're coming and how we are doing these awareness programs, detection programs. I'll pass this on to Shona, and she will explain to you from Pune what they are doing.
First of all, the incidence of breast cancer in rural India is much less than that in the urban cities. That's the first thing you need to remember. The incidence of 1 out of 25 women in the cities will get breast cancer during their lifetime. 1 out of 65 to 70 will get it in villages. That's the first one. Second, the participation of this conference is Mumbai, Pune, Nashik, Aurangabad, Ahmednagar, and Goa. So these are the 6 places that are taking or participating in the conference.
Well, Malaika and Liza, since both of you are actors from Bollywood and both of you are a public figure as well, so like being a public figure, do you think that there is some kind of responsibility among the people who are the celebrities to just bring awareness in such kind of things?
Yes, I'll start. I believe I have a personal responsibility, but it's a very different for me because it's been a personal experience. I'm a cancer survivor. I was diagnosed with multiple myeloma, which is a blood cancer, in 2009, and is considered incurable. So I'm actually living with this condition. And as I said, obviously it's transformed my life on so many levels that part of it is, I don't want to say just responsibility. As I said, I feel that I received so much support because I went public with my cancer diagnosis. I received so much support from people all over the world, but specifically from India, that it made me think that if such a simple thing of just talking about being diagnosed openly can help people, then I will continue talking. I will continue sharing my story as much as possible. And so obviously I feel a very personal connection with the cause of cancer, and I've been doing as much work as I can for the last 5 years.
Malaika, speak how Bollywood can be like helpful in.
I think I don't speak for myself. I mean, right now me being here, but I think whether you're talking about the film industry or anybody connected, I think everybody does come forward in some way or the other to lend their support. I think cancer is something that has affected everyone's life in some way. May not be you personally, but it does. Whether it's a family member, a friend, a relative, somebody. So there is that connect with everybody. So you feel the need to come out and do your bit. And I think, like Lisa said, I mean, I don't think you need to be standing on a rooftop screaming your lungs out about what you're doing. I think it's your own way, however you can come out, in whichever way you can come out and lend your support. I think that is what is important. And in today's day and age, there's so much that is available to you. There's so much knowledge. There's so much that's going on out there. I think it would be rather insensitive and stupid for you to sit back and do nothing about things that affect your life at such a closed level. So I think everybody should come forward and help in some way and support in some way.
So while I agree with your observation that public figures like Lisa and Malaika should Devika as well, you all are role models and you take the message, I must say that the press is equally important. So you all only cover events like this, but I think as press you should dedicate adequate time and space in a newspaper or on your channels to carry the message of cancer through the year, not only at the next conference. So I think you are equally responsible as much as them. The other question I want to respond to is your question about the rural India. I must tell you that at the Tata Hospital we are committed to doing research that is applicable to our country. And two things that we've done for women's cancer is low cost detection. That means detection just by physical examination and detection by something that we don't use, the pap smear for cervical cancer. So we are there making efforts not only to take the message out but also do our research targeted to rural India.
I also quickly wanted to add something else, which is that, of course, I do, again, agree with what Malaika said, that, when you're in, for instance, a more high-profile profession, obviously we have a greater access to the media. So it is a partnership. I'm adding with what Dr. DeCruz said. It is also the media's responsibility to start promoting a more accurate picture of what is cancer. There is so much misinformation out there. It's just shocking. First of all, and that's again one of the reasons that motivated me to talk about it openly, is because in India we still have this incredible fear factor around cancer. A lot of people are, first of all, they hear cancer and they think death, and that's not true. Not always and not necessarily, not with the kind of treatment we have, not with preventative measures, but this requires a real concentrated kind of an awareness program, and we can't do this without the press. I mean, I came here today, I dressed up in a pink sari because it's breast cancer awareness. I put makeup on, and that is in order that, of course, I want that the media should have a good photograph to run the story. The point is to run the story. The point is to change people's perceptions. We're not just sitting here because we're promoting a product or, it's just like any sort of a launch. We're really trying to promote real change here, and change in perceptions. And please, especially when it comes to women who are the heart of the family in India, who when they are ill, they always put themselves last. We're talking about rural women versus urban women, but I'm sorry, it's the same. With women, our place in society is often the same. We tend to put ourselves last. We tend to not get ourselves looked after. We tend to put our needs and our health last. And yet we are the ones who often are responsible for running our entire families. So there is a great deal of fear that I've heard from female survivors. They're like, what am I going to do if I'm gone? How are my children going to survive? How's my husband going to survive? These are very, very real issues. So these women need to understand that there's hope, that they shouldn't be targeted if they lose their hair. They shouldn't feel self-conscious if you're going through treatment. They shouldn't have people coming to them literally already thinking that they're going to die. We need to promote a very, very, very positive view, not sugarcoat it. Cancer is difficult, but with support you can get through it. And at least it shouldn't become an uphill battle when you're dealing with financial problems, when you're dealing with people's perceptions. And again, I would appeal to the media. It's you who will be able to help us to change these perceptions. So again, it's a partnership, and I appreciate you asking the question, but also to understand the context of what we're trying to do here and what we must continue to do. Because like I said, it is shocking sometimes, you know, the women that you come across who really feel, okay, you know what, I'm ready to die, but what's going to happen to my family? Or who have not gone for, you know, for a checkup because they put themselves last, where they could have prevented something. Of course, this goes across the board, but we're talking specifically about breast cancer, which is very, very treatable today. And then, of course, there are financial issues, but now people have to educate themselves. That there are places, the Tata Hospital has been doing incredible work for the economically disadvantaged for a long time. So let's band together and start creating a much more positive awareness around cancer. Let's at least show the true nature of cancer. Let's at least start pushing the pendulum to a place where we're really sharing real information with people and not creating sensational headlines and not spreading this dread of this disease where people feel ashamed and they feel that they have to hide after they've been diagnosed. Why? What have you done that's wrong? I don't understand this, if we have to slowly start changing people's perceptions.
Lisa, how would you suggest one should keep their hopes alive while battling cancer, especially while going through the difficult process of chemotherapy?
That's a very, very, very personal question. Very personal, so I can only talk about my own experience. But having said that, I drew so much support from people from across the world because I was open about my cancer diagnosis. It did make me very nervous to be very public because I didn't know how people are going to react. And of course, there's many other things to think about, which is, you know, your profession, your career, your friends, your family, and things like that. But hope is available to all of us at any time. And whether it's cancer or whether it's so many of the other difficulties that we go through in life, I think what we have to understand is that life is not a cakewalk. And, you know, some people understand that a little bit sooner in life, some people understand that later, you know. And what you can do is, I believe, all we have within our control is your reaction to the situation. So if you can reframe it, if you can say, look, this is now an opportunity. Cancer, yes, bear with me, cancer can be an opportunity to learn something, to transform yourself. And of course, we have the facilities today where you can educate yourself and get the best treatment for your situation. So you need to become what I call the CEO of your health and your healing. I call myself the CEO of Save Lisa's Ass. That's my personal designation. And we all have the ability to do that. Humor can help. Support, of course, is important. But drawing deep inside, I mean, in India, I think the irony is that we have these incredible traditions of turning inside and tapping into our inner resilience, whether it's yoga, whether it's meditation. And, you know, I think it's a little sad that the West has embraced this so wholeheartedly. And in a sense, often in urban India, we've kind of pushed a lot of these things aside that are so incredibly valuable. I know that that helped me. So this is a multi-layered question. And but like I said, hope floats. Hope is available to everybody. And it's going to come in different ways. But again, go inside and please speak to some of the women at this conference and see what they've been gone through, because they will probably offer such an incredible insight. They've just been through it, and look at, again, what courage it took even for them to come here. Some of them are still going through treatment, as Devika said. They're going through treatment, and they have left their families, their lives, their treatment to come here to share their stories. So I would actually appeal to you, please go and interview some of the women. They will probably have some incredible inspirational stories to share.
Malaika, A question for you. You know, very rarely have you seen Bollywood make a film touching upon an issue like breast cancer. Why is Bollywood shying away?
I don't think Bollywood's shying away. I'm sure if there's an opportunity, and I'm sure if there is a platform to address the issue, I'm sure they will. I don't think Bollywood shies away from meaningful cinema anymore. I think it's in today's day and age, it's a director's you know. I mean, it's a director's world right now. It's a narrative world out there. So I'm sure if there is something that they think that they can truly, give absolute justice to, I'm sure it will. I'm sure in fact, in today's day and age, they're touching so many topics which were probably far more taboo earlier, but they are now. So it's just a matter of time.
So Lisa, my question is to you right here. Your fans have been eagerly waiting for you to come back on Bollywood movies. So are we gonna see you soon on Bollywood platforms and movies also?
Nice try. Nice try to just try and slip that in. I don't think this is actually the right platform, but I will share with you only because I want to again express that, first of all, remember, I'm living with cancer. So I think that all I want to express, and I'll share with you that yes, I've completed 2 films and I'm looking at some other stuff, but I want to express that I'm sharing this information because I'm still living a full life, and it's possible. It's possible to live a very full, meaningful, even more enriching life. Because, I mean, so many fab things have happened to me post-cancer. Again, I don't wish it on anyone else, but I met the man of my life. I got married. Who thought that would happen after cancer, I mean, there was an idea before when you're damaged goods, right? I met him when I had very, very short hair. So you can never predict what life is going to throw your way. I think you always have to be open-hearted and embrace what is thrown your way. But also I want to say that I hope that we will see more. I mean, I think that Bollywood is going through such a great phase because we are seeing a lot more untraditional topics, which are being addressed right now. But again, we need the audience to support us. We need the audience to support these unique stories and films that we're starting to tell now. So again, it's a two-way street.
My question is to Malaika now. Sorry to go.
Okay, that's the last question.
Second last
Everybody
question.
has to go. One
Second
last.
last question, please. I
Last.
have 2 questions for Malaika.
No,
one question to Malaika.
One.
First one is, people are like, it's very difficult to get rates out of Salman Khan. So people are also
Oh,
wanting
no,
to know-
sorry, this
No,
is
please
not the
help me. Only 2
platform.
questions.
I'm sorry. So I
Important
think we're
question.
actually going to wind this up now. Thank you all very much. The 2 gorgeous ladies are actually going to be coming outside to give a wig to a lady who's lost her hair. If you want to take some photographs and a quick